This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. Shalom Aleichem. Baruchim Aboim. We have a very interesting few lines in the Gra today, somewhat sensitive. The Gra just said that the importance of reprimanding a child, and the Gra in fact said one should, on Shabbos, the Gra said to spend time on Shabbos, Kodesh Kodashim, only to be engaged in Sifrei Musar, and to train one's children always to be involved in Sifrei Musar. So that we were speaking about last time, the importance of utilizing one's time on Shabbos to read and to look at worthwhile material. Then the Gra says as follows. The al-klala ushvu v'kazav, for if a child curses or swears or speaks falsehood, take oisam, hit them, v'loy terachem aleim klal, have no mercy on them at all. So we mentioned the fact that in this generation, many gedolim have already warned about the very difficult ramifications and severe ramifications that come from hitting children today. On the other hand, it does say in Mishlei, Chaysech Shifta Istoinei B'nai, someone who withholds the rod hates his son. We mentioned last week that one can use words as a rod as well, although one has to be careful because sometimes words could be more harmful and more could create a deeper wound than can an actual blow. So Ramicha Yehuda Lefkowitz, he was once asked that there's so many Mamari Chazal about how what parent really has to hit a child, and today all the Gedolim all say that it's not appropriate. So Reb Michal says, every generation has its rod, it has its way of inflicting, so to speak, punishment. In other words, Reb Michal Yehuda would say that if a child sees all the other children being complimented or hearing encouraging words, and they don't get that, so for them that could be the rod that is needed. It doesn't have to be a physical blow. Later on, as the years went on, Rav Michal Yehuda became more averse to hitting, and he was once asked, does the Rosh Hashiva hold that children should not be hit at all? And he said, look, I'm not telling you whether you should or not, but one thing I know is nothing ever was gained by doing it. Nothing good ever happened from hitting a child. Now the Gra says something which is actually, in a way, could be very painful, and it's a frightening thing. The Gra says that a parent has to really reprimand the child very sternly, ki chas v'shalom, because heaven forbid, bekilkol habanim ye'anshu ava imaid. Through a child's corrupt behavior, a father and mother will be punished very severely. In other words, a parent is responsible for the behavior of their child and is accountable and will be nanash for the behavior of their child. So Rev Goldberg wonders that if you look in Tosfos Yeshanim Masechta Yuma, Tosfos implies, as does the Sugya Masechta Nazar Daf Chavtes, that the mitzvah of chinuch devolves only on a father, not on a mother. A mother doesn't have the mitzvah of chinuch. Even though mothers like to go to chinuch classes and mothers would like to read books about teaching their children, nevertheless, halachically speaking, the obligation of training a child rests on the father, not on the mother, according to many opinions. So why would the Gra say that a mother would be punished? I understand the father. The father did not do a good job in being mechanech his child. But a mother, on the other hand, a mother does not have that responsibility. So the Rev Goldberg says that even if a mother is not obligated in the mitzvah of chinuch, in terms of the technical mitzvah observance, in other words, a A mother may not have an obligation to teach their child how to perform mitzvahs, but there are midos and yiras shamayim, which, so to speak, take precedence to the Torah, which are derech eretz kadma l'Torah. So, Torah, they're not obligated to train, but that which precedes the Torah, namely good character, good character traits, midos, toivos, and so forth, that is a mother's responsibility. And if she does not train their child, she will be punished if she was neglectful. Now, the Gra says something very frightening. V'afim tadrichim tamid b'musar. Even if a parent constantly reprimands a child, v'lo yikablam, and the child does not accept. In other words, it's possible the parent did his due diligence, and the child chose to go in the wrong path. So it's not the parent's fault. Everybody has free choice. Says the Gra, no. Oy lo oysa busha. Woe to that embarrassment. V'hatzar, and the pain. V'habizayon, and the shame. Ba'olam haba, in the world to come. Esaviyah hi mechalelas. It is a defilement to the parent. Now, the Gemara in Sanhedrin, we find that Rabbi Akiva on the Gemara of Chavivin Yisurin said that it is possible for a person to reprimand their child. We find Chizkiah HaMelech. He taught Torah to the whole generation. So the Gemara asks, he taught Torah to the whole generation, he didn't teach Menashe? So how's that possible? So the Gemara says he tried, but it didn't help. Menashe didn't want to listen. So we see there's a phenomenon. A parent could do his utmost, and the child still doesn't listen. Now, the question then is, if in fact the parent did everything in their capacity to reprimand and to train a child, is the parent still responsible? Because in one of the Perushim on the Iggeres HaGra of Rabbi Shayahu Yechiel Meir Grocher, he says that there are actually two ways of reading of this. There are two ways of reading this Gra. You could read the Gra that you need to hit the child if they lie, if they curse, if they swear, because heaven forbid if a child acts inappropriately, the father and mother will be punished. And even if you constantly train them, woe to that busha, the parent will still be punished. Or you could read it as follows. No, you need to hit the child to make sure, again, whatever that the generational definition is. One has to teach their child and not have mercy on them, because if heaven forbid they act corruptly, the father and mother will be punished. And even if the parent did their utmost, so then the parent won't be punished, but it will still be be embarrassing in Olam Haba. So Rev Goldberg asked Rav Chaim Kanievsky that let's say a child is corrupt. Hey, this is a good share for you to come. 1 second, I'm in the middle of the share. Say hello. Okay, but here, go out there. He has to finish up. Okay. So, Daddy. 1 second. 1 second. My book? 1 second, okay? Daddy's in the middle of the share. Where's my book? Daddy's in the middle of the share. Where's my book? I'll give it to you after. Sorry. So, or it could be read that even if the parent does its utmost, nevertheless, they won't be nenash, but oyla oysa busha v'hatzar v'habizayin. So he says, he asked Reb Chaim Kanievsky, let's say the child acts improperly, despite the fact the parents did everything in their ability. Maybe the child had bad friends. In other words, let's say you send the kid to yeshiva, and he could get into a wrong company. So it's not the parents' fault. And Reb Chaim Kanievsky said, it's always the parents' fault. Why? Because they should have davened. They have responsibility to mispalel for their kid. If, at the end of the day, if the child makes the wrong decision, it's on the cheshbon of the parent, because the parent still has responsibility to daven. They asked Rav Gershon Edelstein, Shlita, What does the Gra mean that the parent will be punished? Why is it the parent's responsibility? So Reb Gershon Edelstein said, because if the parents are responsible for the child, that means they have to constantly daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all of their heart for their children's hatzlacha, and if there's some kilkul, then lo hispalel kechol hatzarech. Now, Revolba in his Sefer speaks about the responsibility that a parent has to daven. He says, look, we know that if somebody kills b'shoigeg, they have to go into the Arei Miklat. And when is somebody released from the Arei Miklat? When the Kohen Gadol dies. Why is it the Kohen Gadol's fault that somebody killed b'shoigeg, that they get to be released when he dies, as if they're all davening, he should die, he should die, he should die? In fact, Chazal say the mother of the Kohen Gadol would bring food to the Hargim b'shoigeg, so they shouldn't daven for her son to die. But why is it the Kohen Gadol's fault if somebody killed b'shoigeg? So Chazal say because he should have daven that under his watch nobody killed b'shoigeg. Says Revolba, if a Kohen Gadol who has no personal responsibility to pray that people don't kill b'shoigeg, other than the fact he's the leader of the Jewish people and therefore he needs to pray for their welfare, all the more so if the Rebbeinu Shalom entrusts somebody with a child, it is the parent's most basic obligation to pray, to constantly pray for the welfare of their child. Okay, we'll continue this Be'ezus Hashem tomorrow. Wishing everybody a wonderful day. Kol Tov.
In that case, is Yitzchak responsible for Esav in the same way?
So I actually had that question recently, and I addressed it in the Wednesday night shir, Parshas Toldos. We'll talk about it more, Be'ezus Hashem. Okay? Kol Tov. Have a good day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.